I've done a few things this year. The first thing I did was file a local bill. The local bill will authorize a referendum to you to decide if we want Class 3 slot machine gaming in Palm Beach County, to put us in the same level and on the same playing field as our sister counties. There's a destination bill that was filed by Senator Bogdanoff. Her bill states that you have to have the Class 3 gaming to be eligible for the licenses of one of these massive multi-billion-dollar destination resorts. So in essence, if that bill passed, and that's a big if that bill passes, that would put us in play with that piece of legislation. I'm pro-gaming, but I initially voted against the compact because I thought it was a bad deal for Florida. It basically gave them that monopoly for $150 million a year back to the state. They grossed $2 billion last year. To me, it was just a bad deal. The same with the destination resort bill at the same time. I give my personal opinion. They have it at a 10% tax rate. Genting, one of the major companies that is pushing the bill, that owns the Miami Herald site, also owns a casino in New York where they pay 65% in tax rate. But they want to come down to Florida and they want to pay 10%. With a $50 million licensing fee, which would be one of the lowest ever given in the nation for that type of resort. So it's at an early process. I did file a bill for the Seminole Compact to help kind of through a curveball. It would reauthorize us for the Seminole Compact for $750 million a year guaranteed for 20 years for a total of $15 billion guaranteed minimum to the state. Keep in mind, we are already the 4th largest gaming state in the country. Between our cruises to nowhere, the Seminole Tribe, our Pari-Mutuels, the dog tracks, horse tracks, sweepstakes, internet cafes, and I probably forgot a few. So gaming is here. It's how do we maintain it, but most importantly, for being residents of Palm Beach County, how do we make sure we're not left on the sidelines and we're benefiting, that some of this revenue is coming to our community?
Last year I filed a bill on destination resorts, and let me just have a side-by-side. Florida is one of the most attractive places in the world for gaming. We have corporate entities, global entities, who are willing to invest $3 billion to get Florida's money. Last year, the bill that I sponsored would say this: you can come in and make money from our Florida residents. However, make sure that a portion of your profits goes, one, education. Make sure that goes directly to the school districts so that our children can go to school, for example, with iPads. They could go to, every child in the state of Florida could go to school with an iPad or whatever the school district, not necessarily the Department of Education, but the teachers and the parents together would decide would be best for the children in that area, number one. Number two, I said I want a preference for veterans. When you hire people, I want you to make sure that every veteran who applies for the job and who is eligible for the job gets hired. And number three, I want money to put in for transportation for the disadvantaged. You know, if you're in a wheelchair, you can't call a taxi. It's very difficult. And every time we talk about budget cuts and our budget deficit, don't forget, my fellow Palm Beach County folks, that there are cuts that come into education, the cuts that come into our families, and our cuts that come into our children. You know what the destination resort said to me when I asked for those three things? Sure, Senator. Anything else? So before we have any discussion on whether we allow gaming to come in from wherever in the world, let's make sure that we don't shortcut the people of the state of Florida.
I'll just be brief. Representative Abruzzo and I sit on the Business and Consumer Affairs Committee, which is the first committee that it's assigned. So the bill will not pass without the votes of Representative Abruzzo and I. So we want to hear from everyone that's here regarding what's your opinion on destination resorts, because in the House, it's not going to pass through its first committee without our votes.
To me, there's two operative public policy questions. One, what will such facilities that are envisioned do to the communities? Is it good? Is it bad? What will they do to the infrastructure? What will they do to the people? What will they do to the living conditions? Secondly, I spent a fair amount of my career as a financial regulator, and any study on gambling shows that organized crime accompanies gambling. I'm not saying organized crime owns and operates casinos. I'm saying the record shows they hover around gambling. Street Reality, any law enforcement publication that you read on it will confirm that. And I think the first order of business as a society is, let's look at those two operative issues and let's wrestle those to the ground. Let's figure out the degree to which we're willing to live with all that.